Well, hey there, everybody. I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. It is a cloudy Saturday. We're about to get storms, and I'm probably just going to take to the bed for the afternoon and be kind of lazy. But did want to do a video before I got doing that. So today I want to talk about social media algorithms, mindfulness, and quantum physics. That's a mouthful there. How does all that come together? Anyhow, I do videos every day, so if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate if you'd go down and hit that subscribe button now. Then click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. Yeah, just having a nice, quiet, relaxing Sunday, getting some things done around the house, doing a little bit of work, doing a little bit of research. Wearing my obsidian today. I'm feeling a connection. Some days I just feel certain connections with my different malas that I have, and the obsidian's good for strong psychic protection. It's a strong psychic protection stone and helps to shield against negativity. That's a good one. I can always use that. So what about this title? How does all this stuff come together? First of all, with the quantum physics stuff, if there's any actual scientist nerds that have come in here, I'm not a scientist. I'm dumb as a box of rocks. I just enjoy this kind of stuff. So don't try to challenge me from a physics standpoint on anything. But I've got a little reading, but I also have some of my thoughts of my own is when I do it. It's just kind of one of those things. I was going to do the video, didn't have a reading plan today, but I always, do a little bit of a search just to see if something good comes up. And I found one, and I will I'll put the link in the description below. And the title of the post is "Use Your Mind to Change Reality. It is easier than you think." Albert Einstein once said that reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. It seems difficult to imagine that our most happy, sad, and emotional moments in life are simply nothing more than an illusion created in our minds. Even more surprising is the suggestion that everyone can create the reality they choose. How is it possible? The power of thoughts is perhaps stronger than most people realize. Scientists' interest in the subject is increasing, and quantum physics is rapidly gaining popularity among non-physicists. Quantum physics, study of the behavior of matter and energy at the molecular, atomic, nuclear, and even smaller microscopic levels. In the realm of quantum physics, observing something actually influences the physical processes taking place. What makes quantum physics, sometimes also called quantum mechanics or quantum field theory, so special is that nothing is as one would expect it to be. Light waves act like particles, and particles act like waves. Matter can go from one spot to another without moving through the intervening space, called quantum tunneling. Information moves instantly across vast distances. In fact, in quantum mechanics, we discover that the entire universe is actually a series of probabilities. Nobel Prize-winning father of quantum mechanics, Niels Bohr, said that everything we call real is made of things that cannot be regarded as real. If quantum mechanics hasn't profoundly shocked you yet, you don't understand it well. That is true, of course. Visual illusions demonstrate the ways in which the brain creates a mental representation that differs from the physical world. By studying illusions, we can learn the mechanisms by which the brain constructs our conscious experience of the world. This brings us straight to one of the most complex questions in science, namely consciousness. So far, scientists have been unable to explain how consciousness can create an immaterial experience. Conscious experience is at once the most familiar thing in the world and the most mysterious. There is nothing we know about more directly than consciousness, but it is extraordinarily hard to reconcile it with everything else we know. Why does it exist? What does it do? How could it possibly arise from the neural processes in the brain? These questions are among the most intriguing in all of science, David J. Chalmers, distinguished professor of philosophy and director of the Center for Consciousness at the Australian National University, said. From an objective viewpoint, the brain is relatively comprehensible. When you look at this page, there's a whir of processing. Photons strike your retina. Electrical signals are passed up your optic nerve and between different areas of your brain. And eventually you might respond with a smile, a perplexed frown, or a remark. But there is also a subjective aspect. When you look at the page, you're conscious of it, directly experiencing the images and words as part of your private mental life. You have vivid impressions of colored flowers and vibrant sky. At the same time, you may be feeling some emotions and forming some thoughts. Together, such experiences make up consciousness, the subjective inner life of the mind, David J. Chalmers explained. Perhaps there is a strong invisible connection between consciousness and thoughts in our mind. In his book, Evolve Your Brain, the Science of Changing Your Mind, Dr. Joe Dispenza, D.C., connects the subjects of thought and consciousness with the brain, the body, and the mind. The book explores the biology of change. That is, when we truly change our mind, there is a physical evidence of change in the brain. In his second best-selling book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, How to Lose Your Mind and Create a New One, Dr. Dispenza explains that you are not doomed by your genes and hardwired to be a certain way for the rest of your life. A new science is emerging that empowers all human beings to create the reality they choose, he says. Dr. Dispenza is convinced that your thoughts can change reality. Our perception plays a vital role in this process. Douglas Adams wrote in his famous book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, everything you see or hear or experience in any way at all is specific to you. You create a universe by perceiving it. So everything in the universe you perceive is specific to you. This is a quick experiment you can try to see how perception and thoughts really do change reality. Stop reading this article for a short moment. Now look around you and focus your attention on something close to you that you have not noticed before. If you really focus, you will no longer notice sounds around you. Next step is to try to view your surroundings from the point of the object. There are people who can do this effortlessly. However, many also need concentration to do this. Depending on how adept you are at focusing your concentration, you may notice a slight shift in your perception, a weird jump in reality, where you are suddenly viewing the world from a different perspective. Did it work? Whether you noticed anything or not, your perception did change, albeit for an instant. It is not important to be conscious of your perception, because if you are not, it is important. He did not use very good punctuation and spelling here. I'm not reading that badly. It is important to be conscious of your perception, because if you are not, someone else will create it for you. It may sound like a difficult process, but altering reality can in many cases be worth the effort. Sooner or later, you will discover that creating a new reality was easier than you thought. Now, personally, I hear people all day, every day, and I've had proof of this because I did this over the last 6 months. My social media and how I changed it. You know what I did? It's all about, everybody's always complaining, whining, complaining. Social media, what I see. And the ego is part of what holds you back, because you've got to respond to all that. You have to tell people what you think of this dumb thing they've posted. On social media, you're sort of creating your reality there, because every time you respond to something, every time you click on something, every time, even if you disagree with it and you're making a negative comment, it keeps coming up in your feed. You search something. Anything you search on Google will generally at some point pop up in Facebook. So I started, like I said, you know what I did? And sorry, that's a little radar warning. What I did is basically, like I say, I just unfollowed. Unfollowed is a nice little step on Facebook, because then people don't get their feelings hurt, and if most of the time it solves the problems. You get tired of seeing what people are saying, just you can unfollow them if you don't want to unfriend them. But I did this for about 6 months, and I started seeing it slowly change, and I didn't see the negative and all the whining. I'm so sick of whining. Oh, poor me, and it disappeared. And I consciously, and there's a few days I just consciously clicked on nothing but silly stuff. Well, I don't know, I like kittens, I like cats. I did nothing but click on like videos and photos and post about kittens, puppies, dogs, baby goats, all that stuff. Well, actually, I was telling a friend yesterday, my Facebook feed has gotten a little bit boring because I scrubbed it too clean. But see, everybody's always complaining, oh, I've got to disconnect from Facebook like it's Facebook's fault. It's not Facebook's fault. You control. I've been talking about the that algorithm that everybody talks about on all the social media, artificial intelligence, and you. Believe me, you control that algorithm very precisely by what you're clicking on. So what you're focusing on is what you're seeing. So if you don't like what you're seeing in your social media feeds, stop focusing on what you're currently focusing on. And in my day-to-day life, sometimes people ask me why I'm so upbeat all the time. It's like I put beauty in my day. I said this on Instagram last week, and I'll finish with it. I'm like, I look for beauty. I search for beauty. I expect beauty in my day-to-day world, in my walks around town, and that's why I share a lot of it, the flowers and squirrels and what have you. And because I do that, I create my reality. I create my mood. I create the beauty that I see here, because I'm not in an area that I would necessarily choose to be in. But am I miserable? No. Do I enjoy my days? Yes. I create. You can create too. So anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace, my friends.